the trainee is going to be sitting on the toilet so much without those breaks changing, without having more time off the toilet. It's really, really, really important that those things work together. And as Pat said this morning, as I've said a bunch of times, reinforcement is so key. Good reinforcers that are going to work for this specific trainee are vital. You can't do any of the types of toilet training we're going to talk about without these things. So I'm going to start talking about the ways in which reinforcement for correct toileting applies specifically to rapid toilet training. So what it is if the trainee urinates in the toilet, they'll be given a predetermined reward item immediately after the urination is stopped. Again, not necessarily an item. It could be an experience. It could be anything really, and I'll give you some more examples too. They'll also leave the toilet immediately, and they'll take a break according to the current schedule. So you know all about that. We just talked about that with Joey. You have these predetermined break schedules. For some trainees, the break is part of the reinforcer too, right? They're kind of happy to get out of the bathroom, stop sitting on the toilet. Again, if there's somebody who loves a trampoline, loves running out in the yard and seeing their water table or something, they could also do that on their break. So the break times and the delivery of reinforcers work together to reinforce the behavior and make it happen more. Okay, why do we do this? Giving a highly preferred, exciting, cool item, thing, experience, whatever, to the trainee immediately after they pee or poop in the toilet increases the likelihood that they'll continue to do it in the future, right? Pat was saying, they don't even need to look really excited when you give it to them. They don't need to have a big reaction. It's the way you know it's working is if they keep peeing and pooping in the toilet more later. You don't actually know for sure in the moment if you have a good reinforcer. You only know if it increases that behavior later. I know that sounds a little funny, but yeah, it's an important consideration that the only way we know reinforcers are working and that we pick something or a series of things that are really good is if the person keeps peeing and pooping more and more and more in the future. Again, like Pat said, these things have got to be really good. Really, 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 really good for that trainee. Again, they don't have to have a big emotional reaction to them. Some people just don't. Like we work with some trainees who they don't have that classic excited look, but we know it worked because they took the thing or they looked at the thing and then they kept peeing more in the future. That's how we know it worked, right? You don't have to get this jubilant reaction, and that's okay. It's really important to remember we are asking a lot when we first start toilet training. We're asking them to change a very set in stone behavior they've had for their entire lives, right? We're asking a lot. It's hard, new, unprecedented behavior. What works as a reinforcer to help them learn other things might not cut it for this one. So lots of trainees that we work with, they have like a home-based, intervention program where they're working on a ton of different skills. Or at school, they're working on a ton of different skills and they're learning things. It's really cool. They're learning things like how to tie their shoes or how to talk or how to do puzzles or like a billion different things, right? And we find though with toileting, what we're asking of them is a lot, and the reinforcers that might work for those day-to-day learning activities that they do might not be potent enough for this one. So we really need good stuff. I'm going to walk you through a few more examples because I think it helps you to think about like for your trainee out of the box, right? Like Pat this morning gave you some corn on the cob, the glove treatment, the blow dryer trick. Like they're not things that come to mind right away. Like when Pat said about the corn on the cob, the dad going, he doesn't like anything, well, corn on the cob. And we're like, let's get a cooler full of corn on the cob. Like it seems silly and weird, but it's not something that you'd probably do in his day-to-day intervention program, but it is something we could make happen for this special situation, right? Where we're really focused on this one thing. So I've had actually a couple trainees. My first example is that love blowing out candles. It's something they usually do like once a year on their birthday. So yeah, I've had a couple trainees where after they have a pee in the toilet, we immediately light a candle or two and they blow it out and that's it. And that's enough, like, because that's something that's really cool and special to them. So again, you're not really giving them a thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. It's an experience. I should say a vast stereotype about what our work is people think we give like M&Ms or Smarties. So if you're an international viewer, in Canada at least, what those things are is like little chocolates covered in candy, just small, and a lot of, everybody likes them, let's be honest, they're pretty good. But they're not enough usually for toilet training. Like, they're not potent enough, right? So people often say, what do you use, M&Ms or Smarties? And I go, if they'll work, like, again, it doesn't matter what it is, it just has to work. But most trainees, something small scale like that, it's not gonna be it, the wow factor that's gonna make this happen. So candles is one. Oh, I like this one. We had another trainee who really loved those claw machines that you see in like an arcade or like a mall will sometimes have them here, where you put in a coin and then you get a chance to work these little levers and you get the claw to go down and try to grab a prize. It really doesn't matter what the prize is to most of us, it's getting the prize, right? So we found, this is not an ad for eBay. We've mentioned eBay multiple times, but you can buy weird stuff there, right? And I believe it's very international. So we found on eBay sort of a home claw machine, and this trainee was like, got it. Like he loved that. So every time he would pee, the way we would represent it to him is we'd hand him the coin when the pee started coming out of his body, the coin he needed to operate this claw machine. Here it is. And then we couldn't have it in the bathroom. It was huge. So we'd move just outside the bathroom to do it. But at least we got to show him, hey, the coin, we're going, let's go. That is what happened immediately. That immediacy piece is very key. And yeah, we put different things in it. Like we could mix up what was in the claw machine that he could grab with the claw, but again, it was more the experience of the fun of operating the machine, and just, it was so cool for him that it was in his home. Like he'd never seen something like that in his home before. Somebody mentioned when we were asking this morning, what reinforcers have you tried successfully with toileting? Somebody said surprise eggs. These were all the rage on YouTube a couple years ago. I think it's going strong. There's a sort of trend where you get like a plastic egg and you put something in it, but then you cover the egg with Play-Doh. You can see the image here of what that looks like. And then in these YouTube videos, you see somebody slowly uncovering the Play-Doh from the egg and opening the egg, and there's something inside, like a little, plastic tiger or something like that. And we had a couple trainees who loved those videos. And so we figured, like, working with the parents, let's replicate them in real life, right? So we created what the scenario from the video in real life. We covered eggs with Play-Doh, we put things inside of them, and the trainee was like, this is the best. It's so cool. I get to do it. Like, I get to do what I've seen in the video, right? So another kind of outside the box thing. I should say too, these are the amazing stories. I've also tried things like this that have womp womp, like totally flopped, right? So just because you think, okay, this is cool, I'm gonna replicate his YouTube video, some trainees go, I'm not into that, thanks, I'll take the video. It's okay. Like, you don't, even if you had an amazing idea, if it didn't play out, there's something else. There's always something else. So a couple more examples. Oh my goodness, this one's great. So this was a guy I worked with who was, I believe he was 17. And I was doing some coaching with his parents while they were doing rapid toilet training with him. And he was really hard to identify good reinforcers for. He was just kind of, I don't know, kind of a happy guy who, he liked lots of things, but nothing that much. But he talked constantly about this time at summer camp where they had a special day where the camp teenagers, the teenagers who were there attending this camp for kids with autism, they got to put pies in the faces of the leaders. Summer camp's crazy, right? It's so fun. So on the last day or something, they all got to pie face these leaders. It must have happened like 3 years before we did the training. And this guy, he still talked about it all the time. He had photos from the day. It was like the best day of his life. So in trying to work with his parents to like, what are we gonna do for him? This came up because I met this guy, this teen, and he told me about the pie thing. And I said, okay, well, what's the pie thing, to his mom and dad? And dad was like, oh, I know what we have to do. So we just, basically, we got empty pie plates. We filled them with whipped cream, and he would pie face his dad after his first couple peas. His dad was such a good sport. It worked so well. Like he must have, I don't know how many pies in the face he had. And then to like continue to generalize it, eventually he pie faced like his principal. Like everybody got on board and was so, but it was really cool to see, like, yeah, out of the box. We really couldn't think of anything. And it's like, well, duh, the answer's in front of us. He's been talking about pie facing his camp leader for years. So that was really cool and worked great for him. By the way, we will talk as we go on about fading out reinforcers, because he's not still pie facing his dad every time he pees all these years later. There are ways to remove reinforcers. When we're talking about how the things have to be so good, and it's hard, new, unprecedented behavior that we're teaching, so these reinforcers have to be potent, like the best things we can think of. It's only hard, new, unprecedented behavior for a little while, right? It's the first little bit of toilet training where you need these things to be epic for this trainee, and then they start getting good at it really quickly, and you don't need the big guns, the big amazing reinforcers anymore. It's just to make that initial shift happen. So please don't think I recommended he pie face everybody and is still doing it somewhere out there. It ended. That was cool. Oh, another thing is, and Pat did mention this, but a lot of trainees really, ice cream is a big reinforcer for all of us, right? And sometimes people will ask me, well, okay, ice cream is his big thing, but we can't really use it, right? Because we have to give it immediately. No, there are ways. So you get a really good cooler that you can stick in the bathtub, fill that cooler with tons of ice, and then you can have access to ice cream all day. You might have to replenish your ice at halfway through the day. By that, I mean your assistant will replenish the ice halfway through the day because you will be watching the trainee, right? But it might have to be, replenished and made sure it's really cold. We've used ice cream a ton. A cooler is the key to doing that. You cannot go get it from the kitchen every time they have a pee. It has to be right there with you. That's the key consideration of using something like ice cream. But yeah, if that's something exciting to them that would work really well, cool. I think it could be great. I should say too, like these sort of biggies that we're talking about, like the pie face thing, having a whole ice cream cone, having the Play-Doh video that you get to replicate from YouTube, they can never be like your only thing. You have to have backup because you never know if it's gonna flop, and you also never know how many times a trainee is going to see that thing where they start to go, it's not that cool anymore, right? You have to have some sort of backup. So going in with one thing is never advised. It sometimes has to happen if you're just really struggling to identify things, but I guess I just want to say, who knows, maybe, that guy who I worked with could have pie-faced his dad 3 times and gone, I'm good, what else you got? Like, we'd have to have something else, right, as backup. Luckily, that didn't happen. He kept pie facing as long as he was allowed to. So, but it's something that you want to consider is we're not ever asking you get one good thing. We're asking you to get one really good thing and then a bunch of other things that are probably going to be good too. Because it's something, like remember I mentioned with the juice, worked with lots of trainees who, oh yeah, they love orange juice, but the most they've ever had is 1 cup a day. And we find out really quickly when we start the training, 1 cup's good. They maybe will have 1.5 and they go, I've had enough orange juice today, and it's really hard to get them to continue. We need backup. You need to go in with backup. You need multiple kinds of juice and water and milk they might like. You need multiple kinds of reinforcers they might like, as much as possible. It doesn't mean you can't do this if you think you've really only got one, but that one's got to be really good. I think a lot of parents have a gut instinct of if there's one really good, like the pie face parents were like, this will be good, we know it. Like they just knew, right? So yeah, it's just something to consider is options. Options are good. Oh, and then yeah, FaceTiming. This is very along the lines of calling the aunt to act like Dory. I've worked with a couple trainees now who love FaceTiming or video calling like certain people. Like grandparents are often great video chatters. They're very engaged. They'll ask questions. They're excited. I had this one particular trainee that I worked with who would constantly ask if she could video call her grandma. It was a really favorite activity of hers. And so in potty training time, we got Grandma to be seriously on call. Like, you got to answer every time we call. And Grandma was like, I'm on it. Okay. So every time she would start to pee, we'd get out the iPad and she'd see us dialing. And then by the time, you know, the pee had just come out, Grandma was answering usually. So it was perfect timing. Grandma did a great job of that. I think she almost answered when she was on the toilet once because she didn't want to, she was like, I gotta get home, I'm just washing my hands and coming out of the bathroom. Like, she knew she had to answer. It was really important to us, so that was really cool. Whatever works. Again, it's not items, it's not candy, it's not toys, it's whatever works for that trainee. So yeah, we really want to make this point to you because it's something we know is huge. Like for the long way that Pat will describe tomorrow, and absolutely for rapid toilet training, you cannot go in without good reinforcers. At least one amazing thing. It's like you're a surgeon without a scalpel if you go into toilet training without good reinforcers. It's like your #1 tool. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap up this information about reinforcement for correct toileting, and then we'll be perfect timing to go into a break. So a break is coming soon. If all this talk of toileting maybe means you all have to go to the bathroom, it's coming soon. Your break is coming. So reinforcement for correct toileting do's. I've said this a lot, but I'll say it one more time. They have to get the thing, the experience, the whatever, right away after they stop peeing or pooping, along with tons of praise. So I should say, if praise is something, if effusive praise is something that's good for that trainee, something that they like, do that too. Cheering, hugs and kisses, yay. At the very least, go, you did it, you peed in the toilet, good job. Some trainees don't like loud, excited praise. Some like a calm voice. You know what your trainee likes, do that. You don't have to jump up and down. We only do that because it works for lots of trainees. So you want to tune the type of praise you give to what works well for them. And this is a bit counterintuitive, but just to be extra clear, you don't want to do wiping, hand washing, anything else before they get the reinforcer. Later in the training, yes, you can go, great, you went pee, let's quickly wash our hands, and then we're going to get our cool thing, we're going to go have our break. But right when you start, truly, the pee or poop finishes coming out of their body and the thing appears, the experience appears, the reinforcer is there. If we delay the presentation of the reinforcer, what we risk is that the behavior we're reinforcing is the last thing that happened right before they got the reinforcer. So I've worked with a surprising amount of trainees where that phenomenon has happened. They go into the bathroom and they just want to rush to washing their hands because at the end of washing their hands, they get their reinforcer. And they've kind of lost that, oh, but the whole chain is, you're supposed to pee. That's the thing we really want you to do, right? So it's really critical that at first they get the reinforcer just for the pee or poop coming out of their body. Immediately it's presented, it removes confusion. You don't want them to think, you know, it's something else that they're doing. That's what leads to the reinforcement and leads to them accessing that thing. So yeah, don't even wipe. Give them the reinforcer first, and then you can kind of assist with wiping, but they have to see it. They have to have that moment where they've got it, right? And then you can absolutely tell them why they're getting it. So, wow, that's great. You peed or you pooped in the toilet. That's so cool. Yeah, talk about what's happening. You should always have some variety of items available so you can be sure you find something that's going to work for them and avoid that satiation we talked about. So again, maybe, you know, 3 times FaceTiming Grandma's actually enough. What else we got, right? Like, you have to have backup ready to go. We don't know at what point they'll hit that effect where they're kind of like, thanks, but no thanks. You can kind of tell they're not into it anymore and that you need something else. So any backup, anything that you think might work. And yeah, somebody, when we were doing our Mentimeter responses this morning, we said, what have you used? That's where someone said a surprise bag. Very cool idea. That's a really good way to keep interest and motivation. So I really love a strategy where you get a certain bag If it's like, a big cloth bag with polka dots, like it's the bag, right? And it always is going to have something cool in it, and it's a surprise each time. That's if you have a trainee where you're like, there's not one thing, but they like new stuff, or they like, going to the dollar store and going, what's that, and picking out things. If you just have a bunch of different things in a bag, and the bag is what appears after they pee, and then they get something from it, that can work really well too. That can be a good backup. So there's a billion different ways to play this, but whatever it is, you want them to have, an endorphin rush when they get it. Like there's some excitement. It doesn't have to be, obvious that they're excited, but they want that thing or they want that experience, and it's something that is going to work to reinforce the behavior. That's the really key part. Okay, a tip for identifying reinforcers is absolutely ask other people who know your trainee well what they think might work. Sometimes, someone at school might say, oh, you know what, we have in the office, the secretary has this collection of, Italian Murano glass, and this trainee every day goes and looks at it and admires it, and the secretary lets them hold it. And the parent at home's like, what? I didn't know that. That's really cool. So literally that exact situation has happened. We got this kid some knockoff Murano Italian glass at home, and they would touch it and look at it after each success. And that's something we wouldn't have known about if the parent hadn't thought, you know what, I'm just going to ask his support worker at school. I don't know if there's anything there. Nailed it. Like, that was amazing. It worked perfectly for that learner. So ask people. You never know. Someone, like when your trainee has a life beyond when you're with them, they might be doing other things that are really cool, that they're really interested in, that you wouldn't have thought to ask about because you didn't know about them. So asking people, what is he really like here? What does he really like when he comes to gymnastics? What does he really like at school? What does he really like at grandma's? Is there a way to capture that so we can use it for toileting? And again, we really suggest that you get creative, outside the box. Do the pie in the face, do the corn in the cob in the bathroom. Like, there's a billion ways to make this, special and cool for the trainee. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple don'ts before we have our break here. So we don't want to allow the trainee free access to the reward items. If they can eat them or see them or have them on their own, they're just not going to be as rewarding when you need them to be. Ideally, they shouldn't even see them or know they're in the house until they actually pee or poop. Again, this kind of goes with what we were saying about they don't need to know what they need to do. Like, you could pee and then you're going to get this before it happens. They just have to pee or poo, and then that thing will appear. And again, that endorphin rush happens, right? Like that, oh, cool, okay, something good's happened here. And that's, reinforcement taking effect. So yeah, I really suggest they shouldn't even see them. Like in the case of I said we had that trainee who used a little crane machine, like from an arcade. It was really big. It was big. We, draped a cloth over it, had it in another room out of the way, a room he didn't really go in. He didn't know it was in the house. It was smuggled in the night while he was asleep, so that the first time he saw it was like, no way. Really, really cool, right? We don't need them to see, know about, experience these things before they actually get to have them. Because you want that, yeah, like Pat was talking about, that reinforcer graveyard. Oh, we just put all the things up in the bathroom and we say, when you pee, you can have that Thomas train. Like, I've seen that a lot. And the trainee's like, yeah, I've seen it, I've evaluated, I'm not gonna, like, that's sometimes the process. They're kind of like, I know what it is, it's not worth it. Or they don't get it. They're just like, why don't I get to have that? And then they kind of give up, and it's this cycle of frustration. Just err on the side of not even showing it to them. Have it appear like an amazing magical surprise after they pee or poop. And again, don't plan to use the same items all day or all throughout the training. Choices are ideal. Multiple options are ideal. To the greatest extent you can achieve that for your trainee. Another one is, we really don't want to place demands on the trainee as they're enjoying their reinforcer. Leave them alone. If it makes it more fun if you do it with them in some way, like say I've had a couple who like a those mitts that you can throw a ball back and forth and catch it with like a Velcro paddle. Well, they want to do that with, obviously do that with them, right? Like if they want to throw it back and forth with you, of course you need to be involved. But just make sure you're not making them do anything. You're not making it less fun. You want them to just have it the way they want it. They've earned it, right? They've got this really cool thing because they did something really hard, and that's awesome. So as much as you can, I'd actually suggest fully let them have it before you do any wiping or hand washing or anything like that, within reason. If they've got pee on their hands, yes, quickly wash their hands, right, while they can see and are ready to have the reinforcer. But if you can, and if it seems okay, absolutely, you can, yeah, you should let them have the reinforcer first. One thing I just realized I didn't mention, and a very common question, I wonder if it's in the chat, is people say, so, do they like eat in the bathroom? Yeah, they do. When we're doing, especially the first day or two, the trainee, absolutely, they will probably end up eating lunch or snacks while they're sitting on the toilet. They'll absolutely be drinking while they're on the toilet. If you have any slight squeamishness about that, please get over it. Lysol everything before, bleach down your surfaces so you feel okay about it, but it's okay. Like, it's part of the process. If you're really, really squeamish about it, don't do rapid toilet training. If you do the long way, you can plan it a little bit more around, no food entering the bathroom for the most part. Unless it's a reinforcer, then it's still got to be in there. So I guess basically what we're suggesting is there's going to be food in your bathroom. Get into it, right? Okay, the final thing is, I have personally not learned to do this properly yet in my, I don't know how many years of toilet training, like 15 or something. Don't get too excited when they start to pee. Excited or loud noises might stop them, but I'm still so excited the first couple times a new trainee pees. I catch myself almost doing this every time. They start to pee. If you go, oh, I'm gonna not scream at you, but you go, you're peeing, wow! Many, many times they'll go and stop. And you've done like the opposite of reinforcement. You've kind of punished it by freaking them out a bit, right? So you want them to completely finish. So what I'm trying to learn, and I'm continuing to coach myself through, is I go, oh, you're peeing. And I start getting a reinforcer. And then as soon as they're done, I go, good job, here it is. Wow, that's so cool. You don't want to be screaming in their face the first moment they're peeing. But lots of parents who've done this will tell you it's hard not to. The first few times you're so excited, like they're, oh my goodness, they're doing it. Like you want to, but you don't want to startle them, right?